meeting to order, please. Call roll.
Urban? Here. Guerrero? Here. Kent?
Here.
Leeper? Here. Pearson?
Here.
Stahl? Welding?
Here. Go directly to the budget hearing.
I presented the amended budget back in May, and of course I had to set it on display for 30 days. No one came in, oddly enough, to take a look at it. I think we are receiving some money from Sangamon County that will be put in the bank by the end of this week, so that's a positive thing. But I think probably the best way to do it is to go ahead and approve the amended budget, and then what I will come back and do at the July board meeting is show you where we're going to start off, where each fund ended, and where we're going to start the school year off.
Okay.
I also think we have to give an opportunity for the public to comment if anybody has any questions or concerns.
I have a couple questions. Can you just run through at this point? I got a copy of the amended budget from you. I want to make sure the copy I have is correct. In the education fund, the one I've got is showing us the deficit spending in $136,000.
That is correct.
And the transportation fund is also in a deficit of $107,000.
107,510, and if you remember from back, those were two areas that we were shorted on our mandated categoricals from the state. We were shorted almost $150,000 in the ed fund, and then almost about that same amount in the transportation fund as well. So that's part of the reason for the deficit.
Okay. And then in the budget, I'm aware that we have some students from out of district paying tuition. Where would that reflect in our budget as far as the numbers? The tuition fees that we collect?
That would be under the revenue section, and I would have to look and see for sure. I can find out for that and get back with you on that. Yeah, why don't I look through it and I can give you a call, tell you where that's going to be located.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure without flipping through, I don't know how many pages of budget here.
And the other question I have is the sales tax that we receive.
The 1%.
Is that reflected in the capital outlay?
No, that is in the capital projects, the 60 fund, which is H. Okay.
Any other questions? So at this time, I need a motion to open the hearing on the amended 2016-2017 school district budget.
So moved.
Motion made by Eric Pearson. Is there a second?
Second.
Cindy Urban. Call roll, please.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Leeper? Yes. Pearson?
Yes.
Welding?
Yes.
Urban? Yes.
So one is closed. So then the board members have any questions or comments or concerns?
And basically, you said you would get the funds that you were shorted by Friday.
No.
Any tax
Well,
money?
the tax money, yes. The mandated categoricals from the state.
Still nothing.
Yeah. Well, I doubt we'll ever see that.
Okay.
And that is unfortunate because we'll never get that back. And that certainly digs into our reserves. I think the previous board did an excellent job of trying to build those up. Mr. Fowler did a good job of trying to build those up. And then when they decide not to pay, you never get it back.
Never catch up.
No.
Okay. Any other questions? So then at this time, I need a motion to close the hearing on the amended 2016-2017 school district budget.
So moved.
Okay, Cindy Urban, is there a second?
A second.
James Kent, call roll, please.
Kent?
Yes.
Leeper? Yes. Pearson?
Yes.
Welding?
Yes.
Urban? Yes. Guerrero?
Yes. At this time, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Glenda Wolde, is there a second?
I'll second.
Martha Leeper, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
705.
I have 6. Okay.
And I will need the board members to sign the front page of the budget before they leave. Don't forget to do that,
Okay.
because I'll need to send that in.
All right. So then at this time, we'll call our regular meeting to order at 7:07 PM. Call roll, please.
Urban. Here. Guerrero.
Here.
Kent.
Here.
Reaper. Here. Pearson.
Here.
Welding. Here.
Okay. And Mr. Britton, would you like to lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And at this time, recognition of visitors that are here.
Yeah, first up, we have Bradley Santola, and he would like to talk to the board about a Eagle Scout project at the East Campus.
Okay, I'm Bradley Santola from Boy Scout Troop 91. I'm here to get my Boy Scout Eagle project approved. I'm wanting to concrete the southeast diamond at the Harristown Elementary School. These are the proposed dimensions for the concrete. The average cost will be from $1,300 to $1,500. I'm wanting to get that through donations in the next 30 days.
And which diamond did you say again? I'm sorry?
Southeast.
Southeast.
So is this for the entire dugout area that you're talking about?
It's 2 pads of concrete around both benches.
Does anybody have any questions?
Do you do this all by yourself or getting somebody help?
I have one of the guys in the troop, he works with concrete, so I'm talking to him, I'm gonna get some help from him, and I'm gonna get some concrete companies to do the concrete. And I'll have other boys from the troop come out and help too.
So do you think you'll complete once you do your donations, and that will you complete yet this fall, or what do you think?
Probably
for time?
sometime next month, at the end of next month.
Okay.
Are you just doing concrete or are you putting in a fence here too, or is that fence existing?
Just the concrete.
And Brad, I don't have a lot of background with the Scout, so I'm not familiar with the requirements for projects for Eagle Scout. Obviously, I'm guessing this one qualifies,
Yeah,
but does it have to meet certain standards, or are there certain things you have to accomplish in that project?
For this one, I just have to lead it. I just have to get everything set up and lead the project. There isn't any time limit on it, like the other projects for other ranks. I just have to lead it.
Any other questions? And is it something we can act on tonight? Do you have it here in the?
I have it on the agenda. It's the last thing under new business,
Okay.
so we'll be able to make a decision on it and let you know.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Okay. Thanks.
And next, we have Michael Oakley, and he wanted to address the board. Increase in athletic fee and discuss registration.
I'm here tonight to discuss the 2 items. Later on in the agenda, you're here to take action on possibly increasing fees for next year. I've been to several meetings, sat on several meetings, and I'm asking that the fees not be increased. I'm kind of in line with the superintendent's thinking. Just because we're the cheapest around doesn't mean we need to increase the fees. I've heard nothing on what the fees would do. It's just that it's part of the education budget, and that's $136,000 in the hole this year. So I'm here to ask the board members not to increase the fees based on, what we're being provided in our athletics. I think the fees are where they need to be. I think there's opportunities to save money elsewhere, and I will give as an example the football co-op. The Tri-City side only pays 1/3 of some of the fees, and I feel that they should be paying half. If we're going to do a co-op, it should be 50-50, and that's one way we can bring in the money. There's also some other issues or suggestions I have for the board, such as looking at possibly doing, non-paid assistant coaches, have it volunteer assistant coaches. So there's other options out there, we just have to be willing to look at it. That's all I have on that item. The other item I brought up before, while I was on the board, we really need to look at going to one registration location. A lot of us have multiple children, and having to drive from campus to campus on the same night is very hectic and hard on the parent side. I think the high school being centrally located would be a perfect location and have some different stations and different rooms for parents to come one place, one time, have the forms online so they can be printed out beforehand and get it done that way. So I'm here to ask the board, the superintendent, administration to have one central location for registration this year in August.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then, at this point, I guess we move on to consent agenda. I need does anybody have any questions on the consent agenda that you were provided? Okay, so then I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. So moved. Is that Martha? Yep. Is there a second?
Second.
Eric Pearson, call roll please.
Guerrero,
Yes?
Kent,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Pearson,
Yes.
Welding,
Yes.
Urban.
Yes.
Okay. And superintendent's report.
First thing, I just wanted to take an opportunity to congratulate the Tri-City Sangamon Valley softball girls. They finished with a record of 32-2, with one of their losses coming in the Elite Eight. I believe it was against St. Joe Ogden, who eventually ended up finishing second. So they were regional champs. They set a school record for wins in any of their programs, and it's hard to get everybody in here during the summer and to recognize them properly. So I just wanted to take a second to congratulate them and congratulate the girls on an outstanding season.
A secondary note, just this weekend, Aubrey Hunt from Tri-City was named Player of the Year for 1050 and Indicator. So, yeah, on the girls' end, obviously. Yeah.
And then next we have middle school and high school handbook updates. I'm going to start off with let Mr. Field talk about the high school updates, and then I will touch upon the middle school update.
The only real addition that we had going into this year was I think I talked at the last meeting about adding the Illinois virtual schools at the high school in terms of credit recovery instead of going to the Tri-City credit recovery program so that we can handle that in-house, but also being able to offer additional coursework to students that may need it that doesn't fit in their schedule, or that they would like to take some AP classes or something like that. And we basically kind of broke that down in terms of cost in there. So credit recovery would be $85 per semester hour. Full service classes, which you've never taken before, would be $225 per semester. The with some classes being a semester and others being 2 semesters long. And the district also offering the option for students to take the classes, psychology, sociology, and any AP course. And we would do that kind of like we do the Richland Transfer Academy. So if you were to do that and complete it with a C or better, then we would cover 50% of your cost of that. And also in terms of AP courses, if you were to take the AP exam and pass with a score of 3 or higher, the district would reimburse 50% of the cost of the AP exam, which is $93, I think right now is currently what it costs. But it would be in line with pretty much what we offer through the college courses that you're able to take also while you're attending high school. So it's just kind of in line with that. We thought since it was real similar to the Richland program idea, that we would offer that same thing in terms of the IBS courses. So that was really our only addition, was just kind of the talk about that.
And there is a qualification, you have to qualify grade point and
Yes, you have to apply for the ability to take those. We can do that through guidance, and you have to have administrative approval to be able to take those courses, just like any of them. So far, we've only done some credit recovery. I think we do have some kids that are interested in taking, some of the stuff like psychology and sociology. I don't know the numbers for that just yet, though.
I think it's great to be able to offer it and see if we have any take advantage of it. Especially that it'll be right here and they won't have to go off to Richland or anywhere, so.
Yeah.
I honestly think that was part of the problem with, in talking with some of the kids when we started the transfer academy, that, they just didn't want to leave school for the half a day and go to Richland. I think this provides them an alternate to that and will allow them to get some AP courses in and some additional credit. So I think it's a good idea.
And they can work on it at school, they can work on it at home, wherever they have the time to be able to log on and, do their thing. So I think it's pretty good. It's more flexible than saying, okay, I'm going to take off and drive over to college, for the morning or the afternoon or whatever. So it's pretty cool.
Is this the wording that you would use in the handbook?
Yes.
Okay, I was just going to ask, have you ever identified what IBS is anywhere else in the handbook?
It was before
It's already,
that. Yeah,
okay.
it says it. Yeah.
I thought it
And
might be
then-
good to say.
Yeah, it's all in there, just that wasn't included
Okay,
on the,
very good.
right up here.
And then nothing else for the high school handbook? So middle school?
For the middle school handbook, and I really don't even know if this is a handbook item necessarily. I think it's something that could be addressed at a later time, but the staff and Mr. Trigg got together towards the end of the year and had meetings and discussed the possibility of eliminating the 8th grade promotion. And I know that the thought of doing that, anytime you have change in something that drastic, that there will be opposition and people will not like the idea of it. I know that a lot of other districts have gone away from that, and specifically, one of the reasons they talk about it is raising the bar and having higher expectations for the kids. And I think 8th grade promotion probably came about years ago when that might have been the only type of promotion or graduation celebration that a kid would have. But I think we all have higher standards than that. I know Illinois statute has higher standards than that. And we expect all the kids to go on to high school and even graduate from high school. And one of the other things that they really wanted to focus on was the fact that they could do more of an awards night, very similar to what the high school does, and be able to celebrate a number of student achievements as opposed to limiting themselves to just a few awards during the 8th grade promotion ceremony. I do not know the numbers of parents that Mr. Trigg spoke with. He did tell me that he reached out to many of the 7th grade parents and ran this by them, and he said they were receptive to this as long as there was some sort of awards evening where the kids could be recognized. And I think he has a good plan here with the possibility of doing that awards night and then having a get-together and a dance afterwards. So I know it's something that is difficult to try to do and try to get away from. And like I said, there will be probably opposition to that. So if you would like to speak with Mr. Trigg about it, I know that he could not be here tonight, but again, this is something that I don't necessarily believe would have to be written in stone in a handbook.
I think if we could table it and have a discussion with him next month and then have it on the agenda to take action, then I feel more comfortable doing that.
Well, I think that would give people an opportunity maybe to watch the video for the word to spread that this is something that's up for discussion, and maybe they could either reach out to myself or board members and give their input on how they would like to see this proceed. So I think there's merit in it. And again, a lot of districts do it in this manner. I know I've never attended one of my kids. They just didn't have any promotion. They had an awards assembly that started in the morning. It was a breakfast and awards assembly, and that was pretty much it. So again, I know that other districts do it. That doesn't mean that we should do it, but I think there's some merit in raising the bar and having high expectations of what we want our kids to go on to do. So.
I agree with that aspect. I'd like to see something remain in the evening though for parental. I know a lot of people can get off during the day and do
Yeah, I agree.
or whatever.
I'm not in favor of a daytime event, to be honest with you. I think that we need to open it up and we need to get as many parents there as possible and celebrate as many achievements of kids as we can.
Okay. So we'll table that and put it on the agenda for next month.
Okay.
Anything else with the handbook on their end?
I don't think so.
Okay. So at this point, we move on to old business.
The first item under old business, I provided you with a revised board schedule. And the only change in that to what we presented earlier, in May, it seemed like we were always having a difficult time working around all the activities that go along with May, and we were this year conflicted with baccalaureate. I think if we move it a week earlier, we can maybe get away from that, and then that would allow us to move our budget hearing up a week in June as well. So we wouldn't have to have such a late June board meeting. So those are the two changes.
And the 20th doesn't interfere with school break this year?
I think the last day of school, I checked this, is the 21st. It's a half day. So
everybody will be here?
Yeah, that would not be on the last day of the first semester.
Okay. And then all meeting times will begin at 6 p.m. starting next month?
Yes. And next month, we will have our first meeting at one of the other sites.
Our first off-site meeting?
At the East Campus.
Board resolution, Martha.
We have to, I think we
Oh,
did
we
one
wanna vote?
approved, yeah.
Okay. Since we did change. All right, so then I need a motion to approve the revised board meeting schedule for fiscal year 18.
So moved.
Motion made by Cindy Urban. Is there a second?
Second.
By James Kent. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Okay, now Mrs. Lieber.
Our resolution has been submitted and accepted to IASB. It states that be it resolved that the Illinois Association of School Boards shall support legislation that will institute the county school facility occupation tax across all counties in Illinois except Cook County. Right now that tax excludes Cook, so we'll just leave them out of it as it is. But when I went to the IASB governing meeting in May, I was talking to our Representative Larry Dirks, who was here last night with us, about this. And as we're talking, the superintendent from New Berlin comes up, Adam Ehrman, and he hears what I'm talking about, and he says we would be really interested in sponsoring that with you, New Berlin. So I thought, well, that's great, strength in numbers. But we had already approved, we were ready to go. So I submitted the resolution. They met as a board on the 19th of June, approved our resolution, so we will sponsor it together. And just today, I got an email from the governance office that says everything is in place. And now we are encouraged, and I suppose it's me, because unless someone else wants to do this, to attend the IASB Resolutions Committee meeting on Friday, August 4th to provide testimony on your resolution. So I think I'll contact Mr. Ehrman and say, would you like to come to this with me? And we will go state our case and see what they ask us or what more they want from us. But we've made the cut so far, so that's exciting. And it's kind of nice, I think, to have somebody else alongside of you. And he said he has had the opportunity to present 2 resolutions before, and one made it through to Chicago and passed. I don't know what it was. The second one didn't. So he says, I've been on both sides, but it's just kind of
Martha,
interesting, yes.
so once it gets through to Chicago and
Yes.
it's passed, but then is this something that then legislation in the state has to act upon in order to make it a final?
Yes,
The
I
IASB.
would have to.
So by being passed, that just means the IASB presents this?
Supports it, and our legislative people, our lobbyists would then try to move that through the system. So, yeah. All right, so,
Yeah,
so
it's great.
we're good there.
Yeah. Fingers crossed that it makes it all the way through.
That'd be exciting.
Yeah. All right. And then item C, consider student fees for 2017-2018 school year.
If you look at what I had sent out to you, we did keep the athletic fee at $40. And again, I think that was a good move on our part. I do believe that some of our labs in which we have perishables, that I think it's a good idea to ask for some help from the families on this. Again, it wouldn't be something that would go across the board, but students that would take the biology 1, the 2, physical science, anatomy, chemistry, they would have a $20 fee per year, and that is a full year course. So basically, you're looking at $10 a semester. We'd also look at that at the high school level of doing that for art 1 through 4. And again, those are also year-long courses. And I kind of stayed away from the middle school as far as the lab fees, both in the sciences and art, because I think those are typically a little bit shorter. At least the art is a shorter period, and there aren't as many, I guess, perishable things as what you have. If you come in the building in May, you will definitely smell the formaldehyde and the smell of fetal pigs, which is a cost to the district every year. And again, this is lower than a lot of districts, but consistent as far as some of the additional fees that districts are asking. And then the only other change to that was an increase in driver's ed. And our driver's ed fee has been $50 for a very long time, and that is anywhere from $50 to $350 less than any school in the area, or even with the $50 increase, that's still $50, or as much as $350 if you do a private location to get your driver's ed. So this will help offset the cost of gas, insurance, and the depreciation on the driver's ed vehicle. So I don't think these are unreasonable at all. Kind of like your opinion.
I've got a quick question. In regards to the Tri-City athletic fees, I know theirs are higher than ours are. So I can assume that when our students are co-oping with a sport in which Tri-City is the main school, our students have to pay their fee.
Correct.
When their students are co-oping with our school, say for football, are they paying our fee or are they paying their fee?
They're paying our fee.
To us?
Yes.
For volleyball, track, football,
Girls basketball.
girls basketball.
Well, yes, they have girls basketball.
Right.
And then our kids would pay their fee for girls basketball.
We pay a fee to Meridian for soccer.
Meridian's athletic fee is $50, but I think they waive that for our kids.
my opinion still remains the same. I think at some point, we have to, I buy into a little bit of the stuff I heard in Chicago that, the kids that are actually utilizing it should be paying a little more, and the families are utilizing it to do it, to take some burden off of, people in the community without kids in the district, that kind of thing. But, your recommendation came out last week, and it was, we're sitting fine, and I'm perfectly willing to go with your recommendation and follow suit. I think there's a day and time that we won't be able to do so with the current budget constraints and the things that are happening in our state, but if you think we're fine, I believe.
I mean, it's something that can be revisited each year, correct?
We look at the fees typically, and at the end of the school year, usually in May. So, and I think I presented you some information just so you can see what other districts were doing and where we fell with that. So,
Any other questions related to the couple of fees that are raising, or anything else?
I think it makes sense, based on what you said. I think the driver's ed fee going up, if a kid is invested in wanting to learn to drive, he can earn the money to kick in, parents are so fun.
It's not a very large fee to pay, and if you had your private service, it costs a lot more than that. So I'm in favor. It's not that huge of an increase, and it's a great service to kids who have that.
and I honestly don't think that they're going to have an issue with that. If they look around and see what it would cost to go elsewhere to do it.
The insignificant here is worth a lot.
It's just part of their everyday day, basically, so. Okay. So then I guess at this point, we need a motion to approve the student fees as presented for the 2017-18 school year.
So moved.
Motion by Eric Pearson. Is there a second?
Second.
By Glenda Wilde. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Okay. So then the next is the prep work and oil chip work for the high school and middle school.
We tabled this at the May board meeting because I did not have finalized numbers for this. And as I put in your packet, I do believe that this is a lot of money to spend, but I also believe that if we're going to continue to use these spaces, that we need to do some improvements. The overflow lot here at the high school has not been, nothing's been done to it since it was installed. And I think that the material that they put down was a recycled asphalt and a lot of bigger chunks and just not really a very good quality. And what I would like to do is to be able to bring in additional white rock into the overflow parking and get that level to where it drain out to the road and out to the ditch. And then along with that will be the addition of 2 entranceways into that parking spot. And that space is used on a daily basis by our students. And when we have sporting events here, it's full. And again, I think if we're going to have that spot available for people to come in and park, that we need to make sure that the holes are filled and it's a good space to park your vehicle and then be able to walk through. So like I said,
I'm sorry, this includes the additional 2 entrances out onto Illinois Street or whatever this says out here?
yes.
Okay.
And also the additional prep work that we have to do, it kind of comes in 2 parts because the white rock will have to be brought in and it'll have to be graded and leveled. And then when they do the oil and chip, they do a primer coat first. And then they come back and they do another coat of oil and they put the rock in. So that also increases the cost, and that will have to be done in both areas, both here and at the Sangamon Valley West. They'll have to have rock brought in, graded, and then primed, and then hard chipped. So it's not something that, it's not going to cost this much to keep it maintained, if we maintain it. And I would like to work with the Building and Grounds Committee on coming up with a rotation, not only to do the tarring and chipping, but also look at our blacktop areas, because this out here needs some work.
For the west location, how far do you go in that back driveway? All the way?
It will go all the way over between the two fields, and then it'll curve on around the building, and it will go all, and then there'll be a little path that will run right up to the back of the concession stand. And that area is used a lot for...
To the K-pop.
Yeah. That area is used during JFL and for also track and our softball, so.
And this, we did oil and chip East Campus last summer.
We did, last summer we did the East Campus, we did the high school lot, we did the drive down to the bus garage and the bus garage area. We did a pretty large chunk last year. And it was the same way, the down to the bus garage, or that area where the buses park, had not been, had ever been tar and chipped. It
So
was just
they
white
had to
rock.
do similar to what.
So they had to come in and level up with white rock, get it to where it would drain, and then come back with the oil and chip. And this will come out of our building improvement, the 1% sales tax. So it's not an additional cost to the taxpayers, but it is cost.
And they think of maintenance, or do you think of maintenance schedule of like every 3 years, alternating campuses would?
I think it would be, and again, it wouldn't cost this much to go back over it again. And really, the only places that we've not been able to completely, basically redo is the tar and chip and on the side and the front of the building over at the West Campus, and then of course our blacktop areas. And I would like to address those next summer.
Okay. So does anybody have any questions regarding work at the high school, oil and chip? So then at this point, we need a motion to approve the prep work and oil and chip work at Sangamon Valley High School for a total of $24,549.
So moved.
Motion made by Martha Leeper, is there a second?
Second.
By Eric Pearson, call roll please.
Pearson,
Yes.
Weldy,
Yes.
Urban. Yes. Guerrero,
Yes.
Kent,
Yes.
Leeper. Yes.
Okay. And then the same, any questions for the oil and chip work, any other questions for down at West Campus? So then I need a motion to approve the prep work and oil and chip work at Sangamon Valley West Elementary. I have a question. Will it all be completed before, are they in line to, if we do it tonight, complete it before school starts?
Yeah, we're ahead of where we were last year. I think last year we approved it in the July board meeting, and they were able to get it done before we started school. So
Okay.
I will call Dunn tomorrow, and I'll also call Troy Page tomorrow.
Okay.
And I'm certain they can get that before we start school.
So then, again, motion to approve the prep work and oil and chip work at Sangamon Valley West Elementary for a total of $24,049.
So moved.
Motion made by Martha Leeper, is there a second?
Second.
By James Kent, call roll please.
Weldy,
Yes.
Urban. Yes. Guerrero,
Yes.
Kent,
Yes.
Leeper. Yes. Pearson.
Yes.
Okay. And then on to new business.
We had the hearing on the amended budget, and like I mentioned, I'll bring back those numbers to the July board meeting. So I would ask that you go ahead and approve the amended budget.
Okay. So I need a motion to accept the amended 2016-17 budget as presented.
So moved.
Motion made by Cindy Urban, is there a second?
Second.
James Kent, call roll please.
Urban. Yes. Guerrero,
Yes.
Kent,
Yes.
Leeper. Yes. Pearson.
Yes.
Weldy.
Yes.
Okay. And then an update on the district newsletter.
Just very quickly, Martha, Stephanie, and I have been working on some possible topics for the district newsletter. One of the things that we discussed was the possibility of kind of highlighting our co-op girls athletics and the success that we've had this year, because I know volleyball was over 20 wins. Basketball was the first ever Sangamon County, Macon County champion. So just an incredible season for the girls. And so we talked about the possibility of doing that. And the part of our district goal was to continue to let the taxpayers know of the progress that the board's doing as far as our district goals. So, you guys want to expand on that or not? But
Well, just that I've hit a little snag. When we did it the last time, we did through the United States Postal Service the every door direct mailing, which is more economical, but you choose zip code zones. So we, in choosing zones, we delivered some to people in Mount Auburn that don't go to our school, people west that don't go to our school. They just got some nice reading material, not a big deal. But we wanted to try to tighten up our mailing list a little bit. So I called the assessor's office in Decatur, in Macon County and Sangamon County, and they both did a sort and gave me lists of our taxpayers just in our district. But a lot of duplicates. If you have multiple properties, you're on there a number of times. To make a long story short, Macon County presented it in one format, Sangamon County presents it in a different format. I sent it to Trump Direct, and Dennis said, I can't work with Sangamon counties at all, and Macon counties possibly, but you're going to have them sorted a different way. So I don't have a list yet. I thought this would be a lot easier than this.
It's not just a database or a spreadsheet.
Sangamon County says they don't have as new software as Macon County. Theirs is just in a PDF, and it's just names straight across. And Trump needs to be able to have it in fields so they can sort it out. Well, Macon County sends it to me in an Excel, but address, I don't remember, address, city and state are all together, or city, state, and zip are all together, and he needs all the fields separated. So I think I can work with him a little bit on Macon County. I'm not quite sure what to do with Sangamon County. So when Stephanie and I talked about it, we were hoping to try to get it out the very end of July to maybe be able to say something about registration times. I don't think that's going to happen unless a miracle happens here. So I think we may shoot for August, and that's if I can get these mailing lists. If not, I guess I need to know, do you want to go back to the same method we used the last time? Do you want to just put it online? And I know when I attended communications workshops in Chicago, there were districts that do this, and they say, one time a year we'll mail it to every box. The other time we'll just put it online and say it's available, and you can look at it at your leisure.
Is the cost the same or different to specific people as opposed to zip codes?
See, I don't know, because I don't know what number of people we're talking. When we're specific, I would think we're talking to fewer people than when we did the broad net, but I don't know, because the lists right now have so many duplicates in it. If you own 3 or 4 properties, you're on the list 3 or 4 times.
So are you talking thousands?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
Thousands and thousands right now.
You need manpower to do it.
No, I know.
So is the goal to get it to every taxpayer in the school
Yes.
district? So maybe insert consent or something like that.
Well, and that's just students.
there would be a few, I think, additional.
Right, there's some people that have a subscription regardless, but it would target mainly students that are already here, which I think our goal was to be more community oriented and get it out to more people. But, and I don't have a problem with delaying it. I would like to add, on top of what Bob was talking about with kind of highlighting our girls, we talked about doing a spot on band, getting some of our extracurricular stuff out there.
Extracurriculars this time, because we focused on the goals and
Right.
yes,
So
the
kind of
last
some
time.
highlights at this one. I guess that is up for, how do we want to just push it back until the end of August and send it out, right after the beginning of the school year as an update, or What do you guys think?
I will keep working on it. I mean, I'll bring you a report in July. I don't think it's going to be a problem for IESB. They printed it for us. And I don't see why we can't keep the same format, the same layout, and that would cut down a whole lot of design time. Just changing our text, changing our pictures. So I don't think the problem was on that end. Is trying to find this, and there's not even a way we inquired, can we buy a mailing list? Can Trump Printing or any direct mail place sort for our taxpayers? And they tell me no. That's not one that we come up with.
Through the county. Now whether they're going to come to you in that same format. I mean, it's coming out of the same county, it's probably going to come to you in the same format, but it may
Yeah, but
reduce
that's
your
not
numbers.
getting, I mean, the goal was to get your stakeholders, your people that are, the money's coming out of their pocket and going into the schools. So, I mean, I will go however you're ready to go.
I was just thinking of a way to get.
I know.
This.
I know.
I received a couple phone calls from the Buffalo side of had some concerns about maybe we made a mistake and sent them our.
And the Mount Auburn Postmistress said, oh, don't worry about it. People like to get things to read in the mail. And I'm thinking, I get stuff in my mail all the time that I don't necessarily want or ask for, and I just recycle it or throw it away.
I don't think there was a great deal of.
It was just a lot of excess though, because you have to pick up 6526 to get you guys, and so that's huge into Decatur. Same with 6252. You pull out the whole west end of Decatur, so you're sending it to a lot of places that really we don't have to. So I kind of feel that we just work within that list, whether we have to sit at night, give me a few pages and I'll highlight stuff, whatever. But I think we work within that voter list and try to just
Let me work on it a little more, see if I can call them. And I do still need to call Christian County because we have some, and who knows what kind of list they'll give me.
Certain that there's someone tech savvy enough that can convert whatever format Sangamon County uses.
Well, it's PDF, and you can get that open, but it's not evidently in,
Would be a lot of manual entry in
fields.
your spreadsheet.
Yes, yeah. You might be ready for the January edition. So let me keep working on it, but I think you'll just have to bring it back around in July.
Yeah, that works. So at this point, we're going to table the district newsletter for additional research. Okay? And then property casualty insurance.
Typically, we have Lee Rupnick come in and he does a presentation to the board. He was not able to attend, which the June board meetings are typically long enough anyway. So Stephanie and I and Carol sat down with him and got really good numbers. We have an opportunity to save about $20,000 in our property casualty workman's comp, and it's basically due to the lack of workman's comp claims that the district has had. So really, I don't know how much more I need to sell it to you. It's rare that you have an opportunity to save money.
Yeah, he did shop it. That is his job. He shops it to several companies, and we did switch that portion of it to save an even additional amount to a different company.
And that's why you'll see in the motions that Liberty Mutual and they do the property casualty, the umbrella coverage, and then K&K does the student accident coverage. And then Zenith is going to be our new agent for the workman's compensation insurance. So it's broken down into those two areas for motions.
Does anybody have any questions on any of the insurance coverage? So then I need a motion to award Liberty Mutual Insurance the property casualty and umbrella coverage, and K&K the student accident coverage for the 2017-2018 school year at a total cost of $92,778.
So moved.
Motion made by James Kent, is there a second?
Second.
Eric Pearson, call roll please.
Kent?
Yes.
Bicker? Yes. Pearson?
Yes.
Weldy?
Yes.
Irvin?
Yes.
Guerrero?
Yes. And then a motion to award the workers' compensation insurance coverage to the Zenith for the 2017-18 school year at a cost of $53,148.
So moved.
Motion made by Martha Leeper, is there a second?
Second.
By Glenda Weldy, call roll please.
Pearson?
Yes.
Weldy?
Yes.
Irvin?
Yes.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Bicker? Yes.
Okay. And working cash.
Every year, Sangamon County, or right at the end of the month, we receive tax dollars from Illiopolis. We also receive tax dollars from Sangamon County as a whole, and that always comes in right at the end of June. I don't believe that I'll need to move any money from working cash. You cannot end the fiscal year with a negative balance in any of your funds. And the checks have been cut and they're in the process of being deposited. I don't think I'm going to do this, but if necessary, on Friday, we may have to do a loan from working cash to cover that amount until all of that is cleared. The checks have gone through, and then we just move that money back. Well, it's just something that, once again, the expenses kind of are there before the revenue. It's something you just have to do and prepare for, but I don't think since I've been high school principal or superintendent we've ever had to do that. But you never know.
And I think we authorize it every year just in case, right?
Yes.
So are there any questions on the necessity to authorize a loan from working cash if needed? So I need a motion to authorize a loan from the working cash fund to any fund necessary to ensure a positive cash balance at the close of the fiscal year.
So moved.
Motion made by James Kent, is there a second?
Second.
Cindy Irvin, call roll please.
Weldy?
Yes.
Irvin?
Yes.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Bicker? Yes. Pearson?
Yes.
Every year, this is another one of those things that we do in June. We have to adopt the prevailing wage resolution, and basically that just says that we're required to pay the general contractor, a laborer, a blazer, any type of work that you're having done, we have to pay that basic wage. So, and as a school district and a taxing body, we're required to do that. So it's a resolution that we have to pass. We have to pass it every year.
And it requires all those companies to pay all their employees that same
Correct.
wage. Okay. So we need a motion to adopt the prevailing wage resolution.
So moved.
Made by Cindy Irvin, is there a second?
Second.
Martha Leeper, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Okay.
And next we have the transportation, the student transportation safety hazard resolution. That's another one that we do every year. And basically, the subdivisions in Illiopolis that are on the other side of Route 29,
36.
sorry, Route 36, they're within 1.5 miles of the school district, which typically you have to bus those kids, but since this is considered a dangerous crossing for them, we do this resolution every year, which allows us to then pick them up and bus them. And typically, we get reimbursed from the state for that. This year, not so much. But, and then also the railroad crossing, with the kids, that allows us to bus the kids that live on the other side, on the north side of the railroad crossing that runs down the middle of Illiopolis. Again, it's just something we have to do every year.
So If there are no questions, I need a motion to approve the resolution for student transportation safety hazard.
So moved.
Motion made by Martha Leeper. Is there a second?
Second.
Eric Pearson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Where are we?
And the last one of those that we have to do, every year we have to renew our agreement with the Payette Regional Office of Education, which they provide a safe school for our kids that for whatever reasons cannot seem to function here at, within our buildings or district. So it's something, again, that we have to do if we want to use those services. And I think from the start of my tenure here as a high school principal, that program has improved immensely. It's a good program. It does cost a little bit of additional money to send our kids in there, but I think it's well worth it. And we'll just have to agree to send them.
And that's on a case-by-case that's brought to the board as well prior to them going, or do they send sometimes automatically?
It depends. Sometimes it's administrative placement, which I would always let you guys know what we've done. And sometimes it's a situation where we might put them there in lieu of expulsion. And then in that instance, it would have to come before the board.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? So at this time, I need a motion to renew the agreement with Macon Pyatt ROE for safe school services.
So moved.
Motion made by Linda Weldy. Is there a second?
Second.
Cindy Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Bus?
School bus. Ryan is on vacation. He wanted to actually come and talk to you about the need to do this. We currently own 4 of our own buses, and we have 2 of them. One of them, I believe, was a '94. That it's really in pretty decent shape. It's a good bus, but it does not have all the safety features that the newer buses have, with the egress windows on the side and then the escape hatch on the top. And we're able to use that because the law to have those did not come in until '95, and all the buses are kind of grandfathered in. Still, that does not make it a safe vehicle for our students. And I think we put maybe about 20, 30 miles on it this past school year. So we do not use it very often, and I would prefer that we not use it at all. We have a newer bus that is unfortunately is pretty rusty, and it is rusting out, and it will not pass more than likely next time that comes up for inspection. So Ryan tells me that we have 4, we can get by with just 3. And again, typically these buses are the buses that we use if we have all of our buses out on our regular trips, and then we have an extracurricular activity that we leave before the end of school. And it's not uncommon in the spring to have 3 buses going somewhere. So he assures me that we can get by with just the 3. That's why I'm recommending that we get rid of the 2 buses and just replace it with 1 used bus. And what I thought maybe we should do is just keep one of our leased buses, and with Erica doing the transportation report, she explained that you can only depreciate something that you own for 5 years. So we would lose 2 years of depreciation on getting back one of our own leased buses. Well, Midwest Transit has leased buses that come in and out of there. I'm proposing that we purchase a 2015 model. I believe that with routine maintenance that we could easily get 10 years out of that. A new bus runs just under $100,000.
Of a used school bus from Midwest Transit at a cost of $60,538. Motion made by Eric Pearson. Is there a second?
Second.
Martha Leeper. Call roll, please.
Irvin? Yes. Guerrero,
Yes.
Kent,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Pearson,
Yes.
Welding.
Yes.
Along with the approval of our handbooks, we also have the elementary handbooks that we need to go ahead and approve. There were no changes. I think both buildings did a good job here a few years ago of making sure that those looked much more similar than what they probably used to. So they're not proposing any changes, and I apologize to the new board members. Typically, what we do in this situation is I would bring in the proposed changes, the principals would go over the rationale for that, and then you would move forward. But if anybody would like to see a copy of, I believe it's on our website, and if not, I can send you an electronic copy if you'd like to have a copy of the handbook for your review. But we do purchase a service that it's a model student handbook by, I believe it's LIPA,
Yes.
that they review our handbooks and make sure that they are up to speed on what we need to have in those handbooks. It's a good service. I think our handbooks are solid.
So then with no changes to the elementary handbooks, I need a motion to approve the elementary school students handbooks for the 2017-2018 school year.
So moved.
Motion made by James Kent. Is there a second?
Second.
Cindy Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
We talked about tabling the middle school one until July. And so next up would be the high school student.
So then we need a motion to approve the changes to the high school student handbook for the 2017-2018 school year.
So moved.
Motion made by Cindy Irvin. Is there a second?
Second.
By James Kent. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Okay, and then at this point, Bradley Santola was in at the beginning of the meeting to discuss his Eagle Scout project. We've done something similar like this in the past, and they completed it last year out here. I think it went fairly well. New fencing on the sidelines of the high school football field. And why can't I remember his name? Steve Peters took care of all that, raised a significant amount of money in a short amount of time and took care of that. So I think it's a great thing that they do and very helpful to the district. So at this point, we would need a motion to approve the Eagle Scout project at Sangamon Valley East Elementary as presented by Bradley Santola at no cost to the district.
So moved.
Motion made by Martha Leeper and seconded by Eric Pearson. Is that what I heard?
Yep.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Okay, so then at this point, we need a motion to enter closed session for the reasons stated on the agenda.
So moved.
Motion made by James Kent. Is there a second?
Second.
Martha Leeper, call roll please.
Irvin? Yes. Guerrero?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Leeper? Yes. Pearson?
Yes.
Welding.
Yes.
At 8:06, Martha.
So moved.
Motion made by Eric Pearson. Is there a second?
Second.
By James Kent. Call roll please.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Leeper? Yes. Pearson?
Yes.
Welding?
Yes.
Irvin? Yes.
I need a motion to accept the resignation of Laura Allen as high school assistant scholastic bowl coach.
So moved.
Motion made by Cindy Irvin. Is there a second?
Second.
By Martha Leeper. Call roll please.
Kent?
Yes.
Leeper? Yes. Pearson?
Yes.
Welding?
Yes.
Irvin? Yes. Guerrero?
Yes. Motion to employ Carl Spath as a paid high school assistant football coach.
So moved.
Motion made by Eric Pearson. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Martha Leeper. Call roll please.
Pearson?
Yes.
Stahl? Oh, sorry. Welding?
Yes.
Urban. Yes. Guerrero.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Leeper. Yes.
Motion to employ Sean Hood as a volunteer high school assistant football coach.
So moved.
Motion made by Linda Weldy. Is there a second?
Second.
By James Kent. Call roll, please.
Weldy.
Yes.
Urban. Yes. Guerrero.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Leeper. Yes. Pearson.
Yes.
Okay. Motion to employ Paxton Campbell as the middle school assistant girls basketball coach.
So moved.
Motion made by Cindy Urban. Is there a second?
Second.
James Kent. Call roll, please.
Urban. Yes. Guerrero.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Leeper. Yes. Pearson.
Yes.
Weldy.
Yes.
Motion to approve the FMLA request of Michael Lee to begin on approximately September 2nd and end on September 25th.
So moved.
Motion made by Martha Leeper. Is there a second?
Second.
By Eric Pearson. Call roll, please.
Guerrero.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Leeper. Yes. Pearson.
Yes.
Weldy.
Yes.
Urban. Yes.
Motion to approve the educational support staff salary schedule for the 2017-2018 school year.
So moved.
Motion made by James Kent. Is there a second?
I'll second.
By Martha Leeper. Call roll, please.
Kent.
Yes.
Leeper. Yes. Pearson.
Yes.
Weldy.
Yes.
Urban. Yes. Guerrero.
Yes. Okay, the next regular meeting will be scheduled for July 19th at 6 p.m. Sangamon Valley East Elementary Library. Okay, and at this time I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Martha Leeper. Is there a second?
Second.
By Eric Pearson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. And I have 8:37.